Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Deep Space Nine Reactions. I am Fred. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. We are working our way through every single episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and we are in the middle. Well, we're about a third of the way through season two. As this week we'll be watching, I will be rewatching the episode Necessary Evil. Um, Now, for those who are new here, let me explain the format here. I watched the episode in full, start to finish. Basically do a running commentary because I have watched Deep Space Nine before. I watched it when it premiered back in 1993, all the way up from season one, all the way up through season seven. It was a major part of my teenage years, more so than Voyager, even though Voyager was still on the air. When I graduated high school, I definitely gravitated more to Deep Space Nine as being the greatest Star Trek series of all time. You don't see footage from the episode. We have that blurred out here, as you can tell. Reason why it's blurred because we don't want to make the fine folks at Paramount uh angry, even if they are a collective bunch of spineless dweebs who would bow to the will of an orange face fascist piece of garbage by greenlighting Rush Hour 4, a movie only one person in this world wants. And it's so yeah. Now, if the first three films weren't extremely racist, can guarantee that the fourth one would be. Well, hopefully. Yeah, well, but that aside, you also don't hear any direct audio from the episode, because again, I do a running commentary. Although you may pick up some audio from like the speakers, might get picked up by my microphone. Even though I put the subtitles on, I do like to hear like the inflection of the voices. Well, obviously. So with that said, what do I remember about the episode Necessary Evil? This is the episode that lays out how Kira and Odo first met. There's a lot of flashbacks, and basically, it's our first look of Deep Space Nine as a station while it was under the jurisdiction of the Cardassians, with it being known as Terok Nor. It's basically a major tonal shift. This is also a very much a noir type episode. Odo is doing an investigation, and he's thinking back to a case from several years earlier. So you get it's one of a couple of instances in a series of Deep Space Nine where there are direct looks backs to the time on when the station was Terok Nor. I believe another instance far off is like Kira, I think, uses an orb and it's like experiences what life was like for her mother under the Kardashian occupation, or at least something. I have a vague memory of that. But as we go through the episodes, obviously my memory would hopefully get better. So with that said, let's get into Necessary Evil, and hopefully we will not need to do a digital copy. It was a dark and stormy night. That's a great outfit on this Bajoran lady. I don't care for her hair, but but that's a tight fitting outfit. But she knows Quark, and it's saying that she didn't kill anyone. But like the shapeshifter never let it go. Quark says it was a long time ago. Was Quark always kind? Yes, he was. But he ran a black market during the occupation for anyone that could pay. But the thing about Quark, and again, he sold to the Bajorans during the occupation. He showed to the underground at cost. I mean, he Quark does the right thing by his moral Ferengi code. But this lady wants a strong box that is hidden on the station. The question is, Quark wants to know what's in it. She, there's a box that she wants for sentimental reasons, quote unquote. And if you believe that, I got a bridge on Ferenginar to sell ya. But she doesn't want. Quark is able to read to the lines that she does not want Odo to see her, and she's wondering if Quark can neutralize the security system. Because of course he can. You know why Quark can override neutralize the security system on the station? Is because he has like a higher security access than Odo. You don't pay him 5 bars of platinum for all this travel and hassle that he's going to have to go through. Oh, and she's throwing in her personal gratitude. Quark is thinking about it, literally scratching the ear. Quark says a day, maybe two, and he's checking her out. Can't blame him because boy, she has a fine figure. And I don't care for the hair though. I get it. She's supposed to be like an upper class, like socialite type, and then there's another person there, all mysterious, dressed in black. As we go to the opening credits of an asteroid flying through space. So a couple of things to unpack there. One, obviously, what was established in the code open. Okay, lady's husband was killed on the station. There's something that he hid on the station that she wants. She's willing to go through Quark for it. She does not want to go to the station to get it herself. And while she was talking with Quark, she has someone else in her home that was listening in on the entire conversation. Again, in terms of laying out an actual mystery, it does a very good job of making of the viewer intrigued. Now, as the credits are going on here, let me take this time to promote the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Fred Kasdan, where I stream nightly, 7 nights a week, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Fridays, and 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays and Sundays. And this is, of course, a Saturday. And later tonight, we will be playing Dragon Age Origins. We are heading to Denerim, and tomorrow on Sunday we will be playing Persona 5. We just finished Futaba's Palace last night, so we're now in that lull period where we're going to be waiting for Futaba to wake up. So again, you just swing over to the Twitch channel later on if you want to hang out and with my long hair, scruffy faced self. Would much appreciate it. And also, we'll toss down that there is, if you want to donate a few bucks, there is a PayPal donation link. A few dollars my way to help keep the lights on, support the channel, all that jazz. Necessary Evil. Station log 47282.5. It was a Tuesday. Oh, Rom's in this episode. But as well as Go Dukat. That's right, Dukat would be in this episode because he assigns Odo to investigate the murder that took place several years ago. Great thing about like a noir narration here. Odo is the type of character, and with Odo's like bluntness over it, because he states that Cisco asked him to keep a log of daily activities and such, and like Odo's gonna record his log, and the way he's gonna do it is that he's gonna do it from his point of view. He's going to be very blunt, very pragmatic about it. So now, if the Quark and Rom are going to be breaking into Odo's office, as Odo's gone off into his bucket to regenerate. The great thing about this scene here is that it is something in Star Trek Star Trek Online that that Rom can actually break into Odo's office to a little panel that's just to the right of the doors that lead into Odo's office. Rom can do it in 10 seconds. And Rom has his own the sealing rog because Rom's been practicing, and Nog's made him a sealing rog. Only and he's got in, and it's like Rom's basically saying that Quark will be very proud of Quark will be very proud of his skills, but Quark is more mad that he was stealing from him. But that he it is kind of cute for Rom to get one up on Quark. It's like we're able to deal with a lock a hell of a lot faster than Quark would. Rom is able to do it faster than Quark. Oh, and Rom is just having all better ideas. And Rom has come prepared here. He has small magnesite drops, a compound that will eat through duranium. Oh, and this is a wonderful little thing. Too. Rom is actually saying that while Quark was in the Gamma Quadrant, which would have been like the episode rules of acquisition, that he was able to break into Quark's vault. And Quark ain't happy, but he's got to be impressed. But this is actually a wonderful thing here because Rom it does not have the lobes for business, but he is a mechanical genius, and the fact that he was that this is Rom essentially having great moments to shine, breaking in, getting in, breaking a lock easy, uh, burning off the bolts or the panel in a way that was not draw attention. It's again, this is a very shining moment for Rom, and what's in there is a piece of paper with names of Bajorans. There's like one to get an imager, which is basically a camera. As Rom wanders off, someone else is in Quarks. The lady in white, darkly dressed conspirator. Quark's in get clothes. And open, there's a phaser on him. But the dude is desperate for a drink. But he wants the paper. And Quark realizes that she sent her. That he knew he couldn't resist opening it. Because Quark is that type of Ferengi. Curiosity and in the pursuit of profit. And he gets blasted. Now the question is, was that Armin Shimmerman being yanked back? Or was it his stunt double? Or stand in? Rom runs in to see that Quark has been phasered. He screams for help. Because my brother's been killed. Well, Rom, it's like you inherit the bar if that's the case. And it's a wonderful thing. It's like everyone like a medical team coming in, so like obviously everyone would have had it gotten dressed and such. And it's like what a full on straight medical procedures here, like a cortical stimulator, which essentially like restarting the heart in a way. Like it took 5 minutes to get on 5 minutes to get into position. And it's like, were there any departures from the station during that time? So if someone got off the station, they would have been able to track them down. That's to get them up onto a little dolly. Well, like what will Rum do if his bro if Quark dies? And Odo scored in the rule acquisition 139. Wives serve wives serves, brothers inherit. And Odo thinking Rom was looking to kill his brother. And look, we know Rom attempted to kill Quark. We saw that in season one. And Odo saying he had his eye on Rom for a long time. You're not as stupid as you look. I am too. I would never. It's But Odo knows these Ferengis. They sell their own flesh and blood for a Cardassian goat. It's 200 degrees in the shade on Meldor 1. That's a hot planet. Rather go to Rural Pente. Easier to stay warm than it is to stay cold. And it's interesting that Cisco and Odo are playing like good cop, bad cop here. It was a It's like, what kind of list did they steal, Rom, of names? 8 Bajoran names. They found a box in the manner of speaking. Odo is not happy about it. But Rom knows a lot of detail. Rom is actually getting a lot of screen time here. This is probably the most direct screen time, at least across multiple scenes, since the Nagus in season 1. Oh, it used to be the chemist shop. And Odo remembers what the chemist shop was. Oh, it's a storeroom. It used to be a chemist shop, and now it's a storeroom, which is and, like Rom saying that he can open it in 10 seconds is like Odo knows that Rom is smarter than he looks. And again, you get the flashback. Again, different lighting. Odo is dressed all in black, and he's entering Gul Dukat's. No, he's entering the chemist shop. Dukat is like propped up, having like a drink of some kind, probably some fish juice. Cardassians drink fish juice of a sort. Oh, good. Oh, so like they met before that. So they met. Gul Dukat and Odo met 2 years before this episode took place, or at least the flashback portion of when this episode took place. That Odo did a Cardassian neck trick that brought the house down. Because you know why? It's fascinating. Odo can do it. He's a shapeshifter. You understand? Odo wanted to entertain the troops as like the Cardassians do like the equivalent of USO shows. That's actually quite clever. But Ducana's kept informed about Odo. And Odo, and again, this was established. We have not reached the episode where Odo's like the scientist is introduced, but Odo, this is establishing Odo walked out on like the people that were looking after him and studying him of sorts. And where that's a great response there. The con asking Odo, "Have you ever seen a dead man before?" Odo replied, "Yeah, in your mind's eye, yeah, I sure have." But now it's a murder investigation, and Dukan is wanting Odo to investigate it. Odo's wondering why. Why him? And Dukan suspects Odo would make a good one. That he could get shapeshift into ways that everyone else can't go, stay undetected. And Odo does not intending to be a Cardassian agent, so he's standing up for himself. He's looking at an investigator. There's a difference between the two. And the comics makes a point here. You can't have the Bajorans running around killing each other. You can't have them running around killing the Kardashians. So there would need to be some sort of justice there. And Odo throws back there. It's like in terms of justice, like the Kardashians have. There's a sense of justice the Kardashians have is very funny from Odo's perspective because he's seeing the Kardashians occupying Bajor and doing what they're doing. They're kind of saying, "Hey, don't push me on this. I see something in you. There's potential here. It could be useful, and you can pursue justice in a way. You can be an investigator." And Odo used to set out some petty disputes concerning foods, blankets, and that Odo was considered by the Bajorans in a way to be a neutral observer. Like he could be an arbiter. He can just look at the facts coolly, cool, calm, and collectively. And this is And the fact that Ducat put is like the reason why Odo is in the position of security is very very clever writing. It serves again for in terms of laying out an entire backstory for Odo, filling in a lot of gaps of what he was doing well before the Federation got there is very clever storytelling. And Mrs. Vatrick, the lady in white, we see her here, and this is where she meets Odo. That they've met each other before. That he doesn't use chemicals. Oh, and Ducat has given Odo a specific office space. So at the time Odo gets his office, is all yeah, everything was set up by Ducat in a way. So it's again, it's a very clever way of going about things. And again, if this was like a book, one of the novels that was being written, uh, like tie-in novels, this probably would have been like an epic in its own way to lay things out. This was written by Peter Allen Fields, who I do believe wrote a few Star Trek novels, or at the very least some. I think he did some. I think he did a couple for sure. I believe. I'm not 100% sure there. So she and her husband were married for 2 years until someone else arrived. And she loved her husband very much. Saying, and one thing Oda notices is that she hasn't shed a tear. And Oda saying he's an observer. When a humanoid cries, the epidermis below the eye swells noticeably, and he's right. And she has not shed one damn tear. Shock, the anger of everything, and that she was about to accuse another woman. And Oda, again, Odo being like a thorough investigator and noticing humanoid behavior. It's again, this is why Odo became a fast uh fan favorite back in the 90s, because you could do these type of stories with him. Fences being on the promenade again. You think about like all the stuff you when you look at footage and stuff of like 1930s, 1940s Europe, where like the Nazis were running all over the place, and there's like Wisconsin concentration camps and things of that sort. There is, and you basically see where part of the promenade is basically turned into a Bajoran ghetto. Yeah, again, the parallels that the fact that the Bajorans were like under the occupation, the thumb of the Kardashians for so long, and there's a young Kira with a very different hairdo and a noticeable wig on Nana Visitor. Now, and again, jump back to current day, and I would say it's a very noticeable wig because Nana Visitor's hair is kind of like short and cropped, and that wig just looked, hate to say, but the wig did not look well because I have a wig like that. In fact, folks for Halloween will Halloween a few weeks ago will know I was sporting one, a wig on top of all this hair. But although reflecting back on that case, like Station Long 47284.1, it was a Wednesday, and I was saying there is no unfinished business. The Sodom Quark reopens a 5-year-old murder case. Again, so 5 years prior, for sure. And we're seeing Odo pacing in his office, and he's talking, and he's interrogating Rom. It and Odo looks rather flustered and annoyed with how he's not able to get more out of Rom. And then pointing out Quark is not dead yet. That Quark is clinging to life on his own. That Quark is not going to die. He's going to stay alive despite his brother. That close your eyes, Rom. Take a deep breath. Clear your mind of everything in it. Is if there's anything in there. Yeah, great line. Breathe in and again. This is quite clever. Again, great writing for Odo here in terms of like, okay, how to get like a witness to remember what they saw. And again, it's a bit so there's a bit of comedy here, and again, it's being played for comedic effect, but it's laying into the investigation. First letter is C. C. The next letter is the C, no, and starts with C and a no. And there's a mark in the name, apostrophe, S-O, maybe. Hey, look, if it begins with C, there's an apostrophe and an O, it's something that can be investigated. Hey, there's kids on the promenade running around. If you remember anything else, call them day or night. Now, wait, would Odo be able to answer his communicator when he's regenerating? How the hell does that even work? And Odo's asking Kira if she knows anyone on the station with the name of Chesho. Now, Kira wasn't there very long at the time when they met. That Kira would have been executed and that she was innocent of a crime. Like it mattered to Odo if she was innocent or not. Again, this is a whole lot in terms of recontextualizing their friendship and everything. You got two Cardassians there saying, "Hey, I want to see your passes. Let me see your passes." And again, we saw kids running around, and here we see kids standing at the fence looking out. It's like you talk about like awesome visualization and tragic visualization. They're there to greet their father coming home from a hard day of working in core processing plant. Again, this is a wonderful episode. Noto's first words to Kira like a pretty girl like her eating alone is not unusual. And Kira's thinking she's not taking for money or for food. It's like it's a bit of an awkward beginning. Like, is she picking up is Odo sometime with a security officer? Unofficially, I suppose. Like, what's that supposed to mean? That, and that Odo, I get why they do not put Odo in charge here. Now the more I think about it, because the Bajorans already know Odo. It's not unusual to see him among them. And there's Mrs. Varric glaring daggers at Kira. So again, from a way of trying to keep the peace on the station perspective, Oduka putting Odo in charge of investigation is very forward thinking there, like to keep some tensions down because the Bajorans kind of trust Odo and things work out. So he can't really ask. Odo's trying to find out that if Kira was having an affair with the murder victim. Kira is denying it, that she's only been there for 2 weeks. He had tea. And he liked Ginger Tea. He spent some time with him, and they became friends. That's a good question from Kira. Why does the cop want Odo on the investigation? Like the Kardashians do have ways of getting their information, so why do cop putting Odo in charge of the investigation? And again, from my point of view, it's basically Ducat knows that the Bajorans know Odo. They know he can be a neutral party, and there's probably no one tried to like take him out yet. And one thing Odo notices is that Kira has never spent any time in the mines. That her hands, the condition of her hands. And he's very observant. Her last job was at a replicator plant on Bajor. He hit a supervisor. for trying to put the moves on him the way Odo that she thought Odo was to. And this is also where it's established that Odo meets Quark, I believe. So basically, Quark was been on the Terok Nor or Deep Space Nine, the station itself, far longer than Odo or Kira. When you think about it. Sooner or later, Odo's going to have to choose sides. He doesn't have to choose sides. And it's Kira that drops the name Constable on Odo. And all this wonderful little lore, all these little details here. In that Odo's gone down to Bajor to see Mrs. Varric. The blue dress she's wearing in this scene is rather nice, but it's not as flattering to her figure as the white outfit was in the cold open. But at least the hair is a little bit more reasonable. Maybe it was the lighting, or maybe how that cold open was filmed. It's it, that is what it is. That Quark is still alive. Quark was, but he let us slip that that Quark is still alive, and one could easily deduce that Odo said that just to see if something ends up being tried there. Because if someone takes takes another shot at Quark, it's he can know he can come right back to her. Oh, it's like, oh, there's was one more thing. I understand your power was recently terminated for lack of payment. It's like that's a straight up Columbo move. And I say it's so much a Columbo move because if you ever seen like those old episodes of Columbo where he's walking out is like getting his questions answered, they're like, oh, just one more thing. It's like just one more thing, Mr. Johnson. There was this one little detail here that kind of makes sense. But Odo is saying it has nothing to do with the investigation, but she's saying to him that it has nothing to do to the investigation. But here's the thing: as far as Odo's concerned, everything has to do with the investigation. He doesn't believe in coincidences. He sees coincidences every day. No, his character doesn't believe in coincidences. It's like little pieces that come together. You never know, like A leads to B leads to C to D, straight on down the line. That all these little pieces can, all these small little things can form a bigger picture. And Quark is laid out. Probably the easiest job things that Armin Shimmerman has to do as Quark. Just laying on the bed, especially after probably taking a bit of a stunt work. Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing how much scenes here we're getting with like Kira and Odo at this point in in the episodes here, or as this episode goes along here, because a lot of this again leads towards like stuff involving Kira. And so the first thing when it was Chesso that he was drowned on his property, and that Odo was responsible, and that he mentioned the name Chesso, and recognized Zaro, and that security to the infirmary, and that's like put a guard on Quark. Yeah, treat the Jess as a suspected homicide. And Odo's on the bar here. It's like take a look on everything that's happened over the last 52 hours. Like why 52 hours? Because the Bajor runs on a 26-hour day. 26 and 26 is 52. No visitors on Quark, not even his own brother. Flashback to Quark's back in the day. You got the big Cardassian like emblem right above the Dabo table. Again, a whole lot of different lighting as Odo walks into Quark's bar for the first time. He's looking for the proprietor of this establishment. Does he owe you money? That's a great response for any Ferengi. Then you found him. I don't know. Quark at your service. First drink on the house. No dreadful Cardassian tradition. Oh, it's a soft drink thing. And Quark points out that this is the first time it's like we doesn't drink, so that's why we don't see you around here. Wonderful thing. But you know what's funny? Odo ends up spending a lot of time on Quark because we've seen up until this point a lot of times where Odo is in Quark shooting the shit with him, one way or another. He's either busting Quark's balls over one thing or another, or they're just like tossing a few barbs back and forth. And Quark's heard of Odo that he does some Carnassian neck trick. Not anymore. He does that. That it could work big in this room because again there are a lot of Cardassians that is that patron that our customers at his bar. And all right, so Kira went to Quark first. That's right, Kira goes to Quark first, and that's where like Quark's like saying like, oh, she was here long enough, and that Kira is showing Quark her initiative. That's some sort of sexual reference. Those jobs are hard to come by, yeah. And Quark saying that Kira's credentials were very impressive. Damn right they were. And once again, Quark is being grabbed by the lapels and dragged over the bar. You know what? I should have been kept an account of how many times folks either grab Quark by the neck or by the lapels of his shirt or jacket. But the big detail here is that Quark admits that Kira paid him for an alibi. As Dukat walks in, a broken alibi. It sounds like progress is being made. There's someone that is there someone that he wants to be arrested? That that Odo will give him a name, but when it's certain it's the right name. Listen to the way he speaks to him, Quark. You're you're not afraid of anyone, are you, shapeshifter? And yeah, he's not afraid of Gul Dukat. Like Odo will stand up for himself. He knows the odds are against them. And Odo and Quark knows he got off to a bad start and wants to make it up to him. Chocolate? There's some companionship. Quark, I'm not sure Odo swings that way, but the way he looks at him is just perfect. And Gul Dukat was a bit of a shit-eating smile there. And again, jump forwarder. And I'm loving the fact that with the old footage, like a flashback footage, everything is kind of gray and bluish tinted gray. And then in the kind of like a colder view, and then in the modern day, like the current day footage, portions of the episode, it's in the warmer colors that you associate with Deep Space Nine, all the multiple colors, things of that sorts. Everyone that was on the list transferred 100,000 lira to Mrs. Varick's bank in the past 26 episodes. Some sort of blackmail that was happening. Like how they come out of the occupation with that much of money because they were working with the Kardashians. That they were collaborators. That too was on the list. And even Ferengi would do that. Odo does not have enough to charge her, but he likes to bring her in for a questioning with Sisko's permission. And again, it's amazing though. Odo does not like how the Federation does things, but he does work within the rules as much as he can. And there is Mrs. Varick's little collaborator for this episode. Like he overheard everything, or at least has very good hearing. No one has ever tried to had to teach Odo the justice trick. And again, what I love about Deep Space Nine because it's the promenade set because it's multi layered, literally almost like 2 stories high. You can stand someone on the upper portion of it because it's built sturdy. They can be leaning hands on the banister, looking down on the lower portion of the promenade as people are walking, and Odo can be like as he's having his log entry, it's like you totally are understanding that he's thinking about everything. But then you have this aura farming shot, him walking into his office, standing behind a chair, crossing his arms, He was straight up oral farming there before oral farming was a thing. But Kira says like lying about the alibi. She admitted that she was asleep and she was alone. She found a small corner, and then Odo was catching her in a bunch of lies. Like Kira's whole face changes when she lies. She doesn't lie well. Kira's a very honest person. Start telling the truth. Whose side is Odo going to be on? And Odo's not going to play that game. It's like Odo pointing out why everyone always comes to him for the problems. He's on nobody's side. He's on the side of justice. If you're innocent, you go free. If you're not innocent, you go to the Cardassians. It's really, with Odo, it is that freaking cut and dry. And Kira's like is almost like at the end of her rope here. It's like she did not kill him. Of course, referring to Varric though. Kira's on level 21. Ore processing. Check the Cardassian logs. That there was a breach on there the previous night. And what Kira was doing there? Bit of sabotages. And she admits she's in the underground. She came to come at there. She was there to do some sabotage. A sub-nuclear. Yeah, 2,500 hours last night. So that was like. So kind of wonder is on a 26 hours day, like okay, it's like 1,300 hours would be the equivalent of high noon. And Quark is realizing that's where Kira needed the alibi for Quark. That she'll be executed for sabotage. Oh, and here comes Dukat walking in. Not sure if he caught the end of that conversation. It's like, is this her? And is this her? It's like, is it her? No, it's not. Like, you can go. The question is, how much of that did go to cut here? But he grabs Kira by the arms, like, that if Odo is lying, like, Odo does not lie. Like, Kira is guilty of something, but not necessarily. Or no, I know the twist is that she is guilty of killing Varric, but she admitted to the one crime, to the one big crime that she was there for the sabotage on the ore processing. She had an alibi for an alibi, covering a few different things there. Quark is still laid out on the bed, and like it's too late for visitors. Like no visitors are allowed. Oh, and he just kills the security dude, stabs through the flowers against the wall. This dude is gonna lift the little that thing off of Quark. Oh no, he doesn't. He turns it off and starts to smother Quark with a pillow. Considering and Rom. The way Rom screams is just hilarious here, or at least the Ferengi scream in general here. As Rom gets chucked through a rack, dude's looking to make an escape, and nope. I wonder if they could hear, Rom screaming. That you saved your Quark's life, and then Rom realizes, oh no, I saved my brother's life. And that and that meanwhile Quark on the bed as he starts to smile. I wonder, like, how laid out was he? Because like, Quark's eyes were open, so he was either like an open eye coma or something. Dude is in the cell. I do love, I didn't like her hair at the beginning of the episode, but at least the episode ends with her again, Mrs. Varric with decent hair and a wonderful little headpiece. It's like it's amazing. It's like someone realizes that the hair was very stupid at the beginning, and that they gradually improved the hair throughout the episode. Give her different hairstyles, and that, like, yes, we got to sell for you. And considering that Mrs. Varric thinks that Kira was having an affair with her husband, it's like he's not the. But she's like, she didn't kill her husband. That Odo knows that she didn't kill her husband. And the way Kira looked at him was like, oh, you know? And this is where this episode ends, and it's like in a genius way. Odo comes out, stands behind his chair. Kira's like asking, when did you realize that when she mentioned the name Shishara so quickly, the friends from the young gal must have already suspected him of being a collaborator way back then in the 5 years prior. It's like everything falls into place. Now Varric must have been a collaborator too. He had the minimum money for the ginger tea. He had the private quarters on the station, and he never had a motive for the murder until 5 years later. Now, who will kill a Cardassian collaborator? And now in a slow turn to look at Kira, someone who was on the Bajoran Underground. Like, and Kira get in the details. A colleague of hers was supposed to deal with the sabotaging the job, and that she was there to find the list of other collaborators. And like Vatrick was the direct link to Dukat, which explains why Dukat wanted Odo to choose to investigate. So that's an important detail there. They had to stay away from the incident as possible. So it's like so he doesn't tamper with the Bajorans that he was working with. All these little details work out here. Now, again, I was thinking, oh, you can't put Odo in the position for altruistic reasons, but again, it was a wonderful little details, as to why Ducat put Odo in that position. I think it was like for one set of reasons, but for something else. And that Odo was wondering, well, how come Kira didn't tell him? In fact, that and he throws back in that he was working with the Cardassians, and he still throws it back there that he hasn't worked for the Cardassians for over a year at this point. So she could have told him that is wondering if this entire thing would affect their friendship, and it's like they don't know if they will have to literally hash this out a bit. Maybe it doesn't have to affect their friendship. Like Kira now asking, will he be able to trust her the same way again? And that's a hard hitting question there because there's no way he can really answer that at this point in time, considering it's a wonderful ending there. Now we know that he does have that trust in her, and he will have that trust in her. Uh, Easily going forward for the remainder of the series. Well, at the season seven, season sixes, there are a few rough instances when the female changeling is on the station, but there is but by and large, Kira and Odo stay mostly on the same page. Uh, Over the course of the remainder of the series, you know, they eventually become a couple. Uh, towards the end of the series, and the two characters are very closely linked for the remainder of the series. So so yes, we know, having grown watched the series as a teenager back in the 90s, rewatching the episodes multiple times over the years since then, that how things play out with Kira and Odo. But again, there is just so much in this episode in terms of like how Odo met Kira, how Kira met Quark, how Odo met Quark, how Odo met Dukat, literally how Quark met Dukat. Although it's kind of no, Quark and Dukat would have known each other far beyond at the uh far, far earlier than the timeline of this episode. And obviously, Kira wouldn't know who Dukat was, but this arguably would be when Kira and Dukat first meet. But really, just really a fantastic episode in terms of a straight up noir episode with a lot of flashbacks, a lot of details. Um, Again, Rom gets a lot as a kid. That's Gorgenchik who plays Rom does a fantastic job. As like he literally has to carry a lot of scenes and is able and is because he is a fantastic actor and is able to hold his own going in the scenes with Renee Auberjonois and Avery Brooks when the two are doing the when Cisco and Odo are doing the good cop bad cop routine with Rom and Quarks after Quark was phasered at point blank range. Um, Easily now there are some who say that this episode is better than season one's duet. I will certainly not go that far. It's one of the great. Necessary Evil is one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But is it as good as Duet? No. In my opinion, no. But it's in the conversation. It can be. I can see it being in the conversation, but I can't. For me, it's not. It is not as. It is not as good as Duet. I mean, because there was like, it was like you got Duet and Waltz are like almost like one and two as far as the greatest episodes of Deep Space Nine. I could say Necessary Evil is probably third or fourth. I have to think. Because I know there are episodes further on that I really, really would consider great storytelling. I just don't remember the titles offhand. But yeah, still, again, it was just fantastic be watching this. Just seeing how everything was like laid out in a way to show people, to give people the glimpse of what Terok Nor was like kids behind the chain link fence on the station, the time during the 5 years prior, under the rule of the Cardassians, under with the Federation around, there are kids running free and playing on the promenade. It's like you talk about a night and day like contrast there between how things were and how things uh are within like the span of just a 5 years and just different management. It's this episode certainly establishes that in a big way. Which does make me wonder how come we didn't really see like the lighting chain when the Cardassians and the Dominion took over the station, like for the start of season 6 when they were occupying it. It would have been neat if there was a change in the lighting there, or at least some like differences there. But oh well, probably it was too expensive to change light bulbs. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up here. And obviously we'll do another episode next week. As obviously I want to encourage folks to like, comment, subscribe if you're so inclined, especially comment. I'd like to get your opinions on this episode. And of course, as I mentioned, I'll be streaming live on Twitch later tonight, so come on by, say hi, hang out. Hell, we can probably talk about the episode then too, if you made it here to the very end. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, folks. We'll see you next week to cover the next episode of Deep Space Nine.